AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's behavior. This has been an ongoing family drama, and I really need some outside perspective because my family is split, and I'm starting to question myself. A bit of background. I, 28F, have a younger sister, Emily, 25F. We were close growing up but drifted apart in recent years, mostly because of her boyfriend, Tom, 27M, whom she started dating about 2 years ago. Emily and Tom got engaged a few months ago, and the wedding is planned for next summer. I'll get to the core of the issue, but first, some context. Tom is a charming guy on the surface. He's funny, outgoing, and seemed to get along well with most people when I first met him. But I quickly started noticing some red flags, particularly around how he treated Emily and others around him. For one, Tom is incredibly controlling. Emily used to be independent, go out with friends, and make her own plans, but since Tom came into the picture, she barely sees her friends, and everything is planned around his schedule. She brushes it off as just being more responsible, but I know from conversations with mutual friends that Tom gets upset if she goes out without him or spends time with anyone he doesn't approve of. The biggest issue, though, has been his behavior towards me. When I first met Tom, he was nice, but as time passed, I noticed him being passive-aggressive and dismissive whenever I try to talk to Emily or hang out with her. One example. Last year, Emily invited me to her birthday dinner, but when I arrived, Tom was there, and he immediately started making snide comments about how I never make time for family and accused me of trying to steal Emily's attention. The dinner was so awkward that I left early. Things got worse when I started voicing my concerns to Emily about how Tom was controlling her. She got defensive and told me I was being unfair and that Tom loved her and just wanted what was best. I tried to respect their relationship and backed off for a while. Fast forward to 6 months ago, when Tom invited me to a weekend trip with some friends and family. I thought maybe things had improved and decided to give it a chance. During the trip, Tom made multiple inappropriate jokes at my expense, and when I confronted him about it, he laughed and said I was too sensitive. Emily just rolled her eyes and told me not to ruin the trip for everyone. The last straw was a family dinner last month. Tom showed up late, already drunk, and started making humiliating jokes about me in front of my parents and other relatives. When I told him to stop, he said I was overreacting and told me to lighten up. Emily didn't say a word in my defense. After that night, I told Emily I couldn't be around Tom anymore and that I wouldn't attend the wedding if he was there. I said I was hurt and didn't want to be in a situation where I'm disrespected constantly. Emily got furious, accusing me of trying to sabotage their relationship and being selfish. My parents are split. My mom supports me and agrees Tom's behavior is unacceptable, but my dad thinks I should just get along for the sake of family. Emily has been sending me guilt trips ever since, saying I'm breaking up the family and that I'm going to regret missing her big day. She's even told mutual friends that I'm the problem and that I'm being dramatic. I still love my sister, but I can't stand being around Tom or pretending everything is fine. I don't want to miss her wedding, but I also don't want to be disrespected or ignored. I feel like I've tried to communicate calmly and set boundaries, but nothing changes. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's behavior? Or should I just suck it up and go for the sake of family? Thanks for reading. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of how she treated my daughter. This has been weighing on me for months, and I'm honestly torn, but I feel like I need to stand my ground. I'm a 38-year-old woman, and my daughter, Lily, is 8. My sister, Jenna, is 35. We've always had a complicated relationship, but things came to a head recently with her upcoming wedding, and I don't know if I'm being the jerk here. A little backstory. Jenna and I were close growing up, but once we became adults, she started to get a bit controlling and judgmental, especially about my parenting style. I'm a single mom, and I do things my way, which isn't always traditional. Jenna has always made little passive-aggressive comments about it, but I brushed most of it off because family is family. Jenna got engaged about 8 months ago, and when she announced her wedding plans, she immediately started asking me about Lily. It quickly became clear she wanted Lily to be the flower girl, which seemed sweet at first. I was happy to let Lily be involved, but then things started to feel off. Jenna is very particular about the wedding aesthetics, colors, dresses, makeup, you name it. She sent me a list of things Lily was required to have, including a specific dress that cost over $200, shoes, accessories, and even a strict makeup look for an 8-year-old. I wasn't thrilled about spending that much on a kid's dress and having her wear makeup at such a young age, but I tried to accommodate. The first red flag came when Jenna insisted Lily's hair be styled in a very intricate updo, and she demanded I take Lily to her salon for a trial run. The stylist was rude to Lily, telling her she had to sit still and be perfect because this is a grown-up event. Lily is a very sensitive kid and hates being bossed around like that. I told Jenna this, and she shrugged it off, saying it was important for the wedding's success. The biggest issue happened 2 months ago at Jenna's bridal shower. Lily was invited, but Jenna kept criticizing how Lily behaved, saying she was too loud, too clumsy, and that she didn't look the part. Jenna made several comments about how Lily was ruining the aesthetic and even told other guests, I love my niece, but she's just not suited for this kind of event. I could see the hurt in Lily's eyes, and it broke my heart. After the shower, I confronted Jenna about her attitude. I told her she was hurting Lily's feelings and that her behavior was unacceptable. Jenna got defensive, claiming she was just stressed about the wedding and that Lily needed to learn how to behave. She also accused me of not supporting her big day because I didn't understand how weddings work. Fast forward to last week. Jenna sent out the final wedding invitations and included a note specifically to me about the flower girl dress fitting, rehearsal dinner, and some expectations for Lily's behavior. The note basically said Lily must be on her best behavior or she wouldn't be allowed to participate in certain parts of the wedding. At this point, I was done. I sat down with Lily and explained that if being in the wedding made her unhappy, she didn't have to do it. Lily was relieved and said she didn't want to go through all the stress. I told Jenna I wouldn't be bringing Lily to the wedding or the rehearsal, and I wasn't coming either. Jenna exploded. She called me selfish, accused me of ruining her day, and said I was putting Lily's feelings above family loyalty. She posted some passive-aggressive things on social media about how some family members can't handle a little wedding stress, and some relatives started taking sides. My parents tried to mediate, saying I should just get over it and attend the wedding for the sake of family peace. But honestly, I can't forgive how Jenna treated my daughter, and I refuse to let Lily be made to feel unwelcome or unwanted on a day that's supposed to celebrate family. My friends say I'm right to protect my kid and not put her in a toxic situation. Others say I'm overreacting and should just suck it up for the sake of family harmony. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding and not bringing my daughter because of how she treated her. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she invited my estranged husband without telling me. I'm a 32-year-old woman, and this whole situation with my sister has been incredibly stressful. I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything, and honestly, I don't know if I'm overreacting or if I'm justified in feeling the way I do. Here's the full story. About 3 years ago, I got married to my then-fiancé, Mark. At first, things were great. He was charming, funny, and seemed genuinely caring. But as time went on, things took a dark turn. Mark became controlling, emotionally manipulative, and, at times, verbally abusive. I was young and didn't know much about what a healthy relationship looked like, so I stuck around longer than I should have. Eventually, I realized I needed to get out for my own sanity and safety. I filed for divorce and moved back home with my parents. It was hard, but I finally felt free again. During that period, I tried to rebuild my life and heal from the trauma. My sister, Emma, who is 3 years older than me, was supportive initially. She helped me with everything, moving, finding a job, even taking care of my dog when I couldn't. Fast forward to the present. Emma is getting married in 2 months. She and her fiancé, David, have been together for a long time, and I was genuinely happy for her. We started planning, and everything seemed fine until I got the invitation in the mail. Here's the kicker. On the invitation list, Mark's name was included. I was completely blindsided. I haven't spoken to Mark since the divorce was finalized. The divorce was not amicable, and the last time we spoke was during the custody dispute over our dog, which I ultimately kept. I never expected Emma to invite him, especially without telling me. I confronted Emma about it, and she said she thought I should be mature about it and that she didn't want to start family drama by excluding Mark. She said he's her brother-in-law, and she wants family peace for the wedding. I told her that the peace I want is to not have to see someone who emotionally abused me at my sister's wedding. I also told her that inviting Mark without my knowledge felt like a betrayal. Emma got defensive and said I was being dramatic and selfish, that the wedding is about her and David, and that I needed to get over the past. She said Mark apologized to her after the divorce, and that she believes people deserve second chances. I told her that maybe if Mark had ever apologized to me or showed any genuine remorse, it would be different. But he never did. The only apology he offered was vague and self-serving, like sorry if I hurt you, not a real acknowledgement of what he did. I decided not to attend the wedding. I told Emma that I won't be a part of an event where I feel unsafe and disrespected. She's been cold to me since then, saying I'm ruining the family dynamic and making everything about myself. My parents are split on the issue. My mom thinks Emma should have told me about the invitation and that I have every right to feel hurt. My dad thinks I'm overreacting and that I should just be a good sister and attend. My friends have mostly supported me, saying my mental health and well-being come first. But some have suggested that maybe I should try to be the bigger person for Emma's sake. Honestly, I don't know. Part of me feels guilty for causing a rift, but the other part knows that I can't force myself to be comfortable around Mark or pretend that everything is fine. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because she invited my estranged and abusive ex-husband without telling me. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her choice to exclude my husband from the guest list. This has been a massive source of tension in my family, and honestly, I'm still conflicted about whether I'm a jerk here or not. I'm 32F, married to my husband, Mark, 35M, for 6 years now. We have a great relationship built on mutual respect, support, and lots of shared interests. We don't have kids yet, but we're very close and plan to start a family soon. My sister, Emily, 30F, is getting married next month. This should be an exciting and happy time for everyone involved, but it's been anything but. Emily and I have always been close, though sometimes we've had disagreements, mostly about our different personalities and how we handle family stuff. She's more of a traditionalist and a planner, while I'm more laid-back and spontaneous. Despite that, we've always supported each other through thick and thin. Here's where things started to go south. About 2 months ago, Emily announced her wedding plans to me, including the guest list. I was thrilled at first because I was eager to help and be involved. Then I found out that Mark was not invited. Not just that, but she outright said she didn't want him there. I was shocked and confused. Mark has never done anything to upset Emily. In fact, he's always been very respectful and friendly toward her and her fiancé, Greg. When I asked Emily why, she said it was because Mark and Greg don't get along, and she didn't want drama at her wedding. To give some background, Mark and Greg did have a disagreement about 2 years ago at a family barbecue. It was about politics, and things got heated. Neither side wanted to escalate it further, and we all agreed to avoid discussing such topics around each other. Since then, Mark and Greg have barely interacted. They certainly aren't friends, but they've never been openly hostile either. I told Emily that excluding Mark felt unfair and hurtful. I reminded her that it's my wedding too, in a way, because Mark is my husband, and weddings are about family and unity. Emily was adamant. She said it's her day, and she wants to keep it peaceful. She even offered that I could come alone if I wanted to attend. That felt like a slap in the face. How could she expect me to celebrate one of the most important days of my sister's life without my husband? I tried reasoning with her, suggesting that they could just avoid each other, or that we could all meet up after the wedding, but she was firm. This put me in a tough spot. I don't want to miss her wedding, but I also don't want to attend without Mark. I talked to Mark about it, and he felt hurt and excluded too. He said he didn't want to cause trouble, but wouldn't feel comfortable being left out. We decided together that I would not go if Mark wasn't invited. I called Emily to explain our decision. She accused me of being selfish and making it about Mark instead of her big day. She said I was choosing a man over family, and that if I couldn't respect her wishes, maybe I didn't love her enough. That stung badly. Our parents are caught in the middle. They think Emily is being unreasonable, but also feel she has the right to decide who attends her wedding. Some relatives have taken Emily's side, calling me dramatic and disrespectful. Others have expressed sympathy for me and Mark. The whole thing has caused a rift in our family. I've been trying to reach out to Emily to find some middle ground, but she's not responding to my messages or calls. I'm heartbroken because I don't want to lose my sister over this, but I also can't accept being told to come alone or to leave my husband behind. So Reddit, am I the asshole for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because she excluded my husband? Or is Emily justified in wanting to avoid potential conflict? I just want peace, but this feels like a lose-lose situation. What would you do? AITA for refusing to apologize to my sister after ruining her wedding day, even though it was an accident? This happened about 6 months ago, and the fallout is still ongoing. I, 28F, have a younger sister, Emily, 25F, who got married recently. I've always had a pretty normal sibling relationship with her, but things got really messy around the wedding, and now my family is divided on whether I'm in the wrong or not. Emily and I have never been super close, but I always try to be supportive. When she got engaged, I was genuinely happy for her and wanted to help with the wedding planning as much as I could. My fiancé, Mark, and I live in a different city, so most of the wedding stuff was coordinated through my parents and Emily's fiancé's family, but I still chipped in where I could. The wedding was scheduled for early April, and it was supposed to be a medium-sized event, about 80 guests, in a nice venue close to where Emily and her fiancé live. Now, a bit of background on the family dynamics. Our parents divorced when we were young, so Emily and I grew up in somewhat different environments. I stayed with our mom, and Emily lived with our dad for most of our teenage years, so we had different perspectives and often clashed about family things. But for the wedding, we were all trying to put aside differences. The morning of the wedding was hectic. Mark and I arrived at the venue early to help with some last-minute decorations and setup, mostly to lighten the load on our parents. Emily had told me a few days before that she was really nervous and hoped everything would go smoothly. So here's where things got ugly. The venue had this big outdoor garden area for the ceremony, and the plan was to have the guests gather there while Emily and her fiancé prepared inside. The garden had a beautiful stone pathway leading up to a gazebo where the ceremony was supposed to take place. The path was decorated with flower petals and lanterns. While helping with some setup, Mark and I noticed that a section of the stone path looked unstable. Some stones were loose and uneven. We mentioned it to the venue manager, who assured us it was safe, but Mark and I still felt uneasy about it. Later, Mark joked about fixing it ourselves so no one would trip on stones. I didn't think much of it until Mark suggested moving some stones around to even the path out a bit. He thought it would be quick and easy, just rearranging some stones to make it safer. I was hesitant but agreed, trusting his judgment. So, Mark and I spent about 20 minutes moving stones around without telling anyone. We thought it would be a nice surprise and make the path safer for guests walking to the ceremony. Here's the problem. Right after the ceremony started, Emily was walking down the path with her dad, and one of the stones we had moved shifted under her foot. She stumbled and twisted her ankle badly. She ended up falling forward, and her dress got caught on one of the stone edges, ripping a chunk out of it. It was a huge mess. The ceremony was paused, and she was in tears, limping back inside. The rest of the wedding went on, but Emily was clearly upset and in pain. The dress damage was noticeable, and the photos from the ceremony showed the stumble and the rip. Our family and many guests were shocked and upset about what happened. The worst part? Emily found out that Mark and I had moved the stones just minutes before the ceremony without informing anyone. She was furious. She said we ruined her special moment and disrespected all the planning and effort she and others had put into the day. Our parents and even Mark's family got involved, and now there's a huge rift. Emily demanded that I apologize publicly for what I did and also pay for the dress repair or a new dress since it was damaged. I apologized for her injury and the accident, but explained that I had only been trying to help make the path safer, and I never intended to cause harm or disruption. I didn't offer to pay for the dress because I feel it was an accident, not negligence, and the venue should have been responsible for ensuring safety. Our parents think I should have spoken up sooner and not moved the stones without permission. Emily says I'm selfish and ruined her wedding day, and Mark's family is split on whether Mark was right to try to fix the path or if he caused the problem. Since then, Emily has barely spoken to me. She's blocked me on social media, and every family gathering is tense. Some relatives have taken her side, and others sympathize with me. The worst part is, I feel like I'm being made the villain for trying to help. I didn't want to cause any harm. It was an honest mistake. So, AITA for refusing to apologize fully and for not offering to pay for the dress repairs? Was I wrong to try to fix something on the wedding day without asking? Or is Emily overreacting and blaming me unfairly for an accident? AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she demanded I pay for part of it? I, 29F, have always had a complicated relationship with my sister, Emily, 32F. We grew up close, but drifted apart in adulthood. Emily has always been the golden child in our family. She's extroverted, charismatic, and somehow manages to get what she wants, while I've always been quieter, more introverted, and financially conservative. Last year, Emily got engaged to her boyfriend, Mark, who she met about a year prior. Their relationship moved fast, and soon she was talking about their dream wedding. I was happy for her, of course, but I also knew this was going to be a big event. Emily is nothing if not extravagant. I work a steady job, but live paycheck to paycheck, and I'm definitely not the type to splurge on big events. When Emily started discussing the wedding plans, she mentioned wanting to have it at a fancy vineyard in Napa Valley. She wanted about 150 guests, a gourmet catered dinner, an open bar, a live band, and other expensive touches like horse-drawn carriages and fireworks. The estimated cost was about $70,000. She asked our parents if they would chip in, but they said they could only contribute a few $1,000s. Then Emily dropped a bombshell. She expected me to help pay for part of the wedding. Not just give a gift, but contribute financially toward the venue, food, or other expenses. She told me that since I was her sister and a member of the wedding party, I should cover at least $5,000 of the total cost. I was shocked. $5,000 is a huge amount for me. I live alone, rent an apartment, and have student loans and other debts. I told her I couldn't afford that, and that I thought it was unreasonable to ask me to cover such a big chunk of the expenses. She argued that since she was paying for my dress and the bridesmaids' hair and makeup, the $5,000 wasn't so much in total, and that it was standard for close family members to contribute financially to weddings nowadays. I reminded her that I was happy to help out in other ways, like organizing invitations, helping with decorations, or even helping to plan some parts of the ceremony. But I didn't have the means to hand over thousands of dollars just to attend party. I also said that if the wedding was so extravagant that it required $5,000 from me alone, maybe she should rethink the budget. Our conversation ended in a heated argument, and we stopped talking for a few weeks. Emily then started excluding me from other wedding-related events. She didn't invite me to dress fittings or bridal showers. She said she was trying to avoid awkwardness around the money issue. I felt hurt and sidelined, but I also didn't want to let her guilt me into paying money I didn't have. A couple of months later, Emily sent me a formal invitation to the wedding, but it came with a note reminding me that my $5,000 contribution was due a month before the date. I didn't respond. Instead, I wrote back explaining again that I couldn't pay that amount and that I loved her and wanted to be there, but I couldn't be financially responsible for her extravagant plans. I said if the wedding wasn't flexible on that, then maybe I should sit it out. She replied saying that if I didn't pay up, I wasn't welcome at the wedding. She called me selfish and said I was ruining her special day. At this point, I decided not to attend. I sent a message saying I wished her happiness, but wouldn't be attending due to the financial demand she was placing on me. Our parents got involved after this and tried to mediate. They told me that Emily was very upset, but also said that I was under no obligation to pay for the wedding. However, they urged me to try to patch things up for the sake of family unity. I tried reaching out to Emily again to explain that my decision wasn't personal, but based on my financial situation, and that I hoped we could find another way to celebrate together. She didn't respond. Fast forward to now, the wedding happened without me, and Emily has not spoken to me since. Our parents say she is hurt but stubborn. Some family members think I should have found a way to pay or attend, even if it meant taking on debt, while others say Emily's demand was unreasonable and she shouldn't have forced me to choose between money and family. I feel conflicted because I do love my sister and wanted to support her on her big day, but I can't sacrifice my financial stability for something I didn't agree to. Was I wrong to refuse to pay and not attend? AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her new fiancé's behavior? I've been wrestling with this for weeks now, and I need an outside perspective. I, 32M, come from a fairly tight-knit family, or at least I used to. My sister, Sarah, 29F, recently got engaged to a guy named Derek, and ever since the announcement, things have been complicated. Some backstory. Sarah and I were close growing up, though as adults we've drifted a bit. We still talk and get along well enough, and our parents are very involved in both our lives. When Sarah met Derek about a year ago, she was head over heels. Derek seemed charming, funny, and intelligent, at least on the surface. Early on, Derek impressed everyone with his charisma. He was very outgoing and immediately tried to bond with the family. I'll admit, I didn't feel an immediate connection with him, but I chalked it up to first impressions. My gut told me something was off, but I dismissed it, thinking I might be overreacting. The first real red flag was during a family dinner shortly after the engagement announcement. Derek dominated the conversation, often interrupting others and telling stories that felt exaggerated or outright false. He casually made jokes at my expense, poking fun at my job and my hobbies in a way that felt uncomfortable and a little mean-spirited. Sarah laughed it off, saying he was just being playful. I didn't say anything at the time, but I left the dinner feeling disrespected. Then, things escalated at a birthday party for our mom. Derek showed up late and noticeably drunk. He loudly criticized the food and complained about how boring the party was. When my younger cousin accidentally spilled a drink, Derek snapped at him harshly in front of everyone, making the kid cry. My mom was mortified, and Sarah apologized profusely but didn't say anything to Derek. I thought that was strange. Normally Sarah defends her family, but she seemed hesitant to confront him. Over the next few months, Derek's behavior only got worse. He became increasingly dismissive of my family, especially my parents. At Thanksgiving, he ignored the seating arrangement and sat right next to my mom, making pointed comments about her cooking and how old-fashioned everything was. He made several passive-aggressive remarks about how my parents needed to loosen up and that their traditions were stuck in the past. My parents were polite, but clearly uncomfortable. Sarah, on the other hand, defended Derek relentlessly. She said he was just blunt and that he didn't mean to be rude. I tried to talk to her about how Derek's behavior was hurtful and inappropriate, but she shut me down. She told me I was being judgmental and that I didn't know him like she did. This caused a big rift between us. Things came to a head at a family meeting where my parents tried to express their concerns about Derek's attitude. He responded by dismissing them, calling them old and out of touch, and insinuated that they were too controlling of Sarah's life. Sarah lashed out at my parents, defending Derek and accusing them of being unfair and jealous. The whole thing turned into a shouting match, and I felt like I was caught in the middle. Despite everything, Sarah insisted on inviting me to the wedding. When I told her I wasn't sure I wanted to be part of a day that felt so toxic, she got angry. She accused me of trying to ruin her happiness and said I was being selfish. She said Derek was the love of her life and that I should respect her choice. I tried to meet Derek halfway, attempting a few one-on-one conversations, but he was condescending and dismissive every time. It felt like he was deliberately trying to provoke me. At this point, I felt deeply disrespected and unwelcome. The final straw was when Derek sent me a message the other day saying that if I didn't support their relationship, I wasn't welcome at the wedding or in their lives anymore. That message hurt deeply because it felt like an ultimatum. So, I told Sarah I wouldn't be attending the wedding. I explained my reasons calmly and expressed hope that maybe in time things could be repaired, but I couldn't sacrifice my self-respect or subject myself to Derek's behavior. Sarah cut off contact immediately. Our parents are disappointed, caught in the middle, and unsure what to do. My extended family is divided. Some think I'm justified. Others say I should swallow my pride for the sake of family harmony. So Reddit, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because I can't stand her fiancé's behavior? Or should I just grin and bear to keep the peace? I'm torn and hurt. I want to do the right thing, but also protect myself. Thanks for reading. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she excluded me from a major part of the planning, and then demanding I pay for damages she caused at my house. My sister, whom I'll call Emma, and I have always had a complicated relationship. We grew up close, but as adults, things got tense because of personality clashes and some unresolved family drama. I'm 30, she's 28. Our parents divorced when we were teens, and Emma stayed with our mom while I lived with our dad. We don't see each other often, maybe once or twice a year, but we try to keep things civil for family events. A few months ago, Emma got engaged and started planning her wedding. Initially, I was excited for her and told her I wanted to be involved and help with anything she needed. She thanked me, but quickly took over the planning with her fiancé and their friends, mostly excluding me from decisions and discussions. I found out about things through other family members or social media posts, which felt hurtful. One thing that really stung was the bridal party. Emma invited her closest friends and only one cousin on her side as bridesmaids, no one else. When I asked if I could be a bridesmaid or at least have a role like usher or something similar, she said she already had everything planned and there wasn't space. I didn't push, but it felt like a slap in the face. Fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, Emma and her fiancé came to my house for a small family dinner. The night was mostly fine until they started looking around and criticizing things in my home. I'm a little messy and not super into decor, but it's my space and I'm comfortable in it. Emma kept making snide remarks about how rustic and unfinished my place looked compared to her pristine taste. Her fiancé chipped in about how this wouldn't fly with their families if they hosted anything here. Later that evening, Emma's fiancé accidentally knocked over a vase on my living room table. It shattered on the floor, and the water damaged the wooden floor underneath. I was upset, but said accidents happen. Emma immediately demanded I get it fixed and wanted me to cover the costs, saying they didn't have the money because of the wedding expenses. I told her it was their fault, and they should pay since they broke it, but she refused, saying it was my responsibility because it happened in my house. That's when things got tense. I told her I wasn't going to pay for something they caused, and if she wanted to fix the floor, she could do it herself or let me handle it. Emma then started accusing me of being selfish and ungrateful for not supporting her wedding and for making a big deal out of nothing. A few days later, she called and said I was no longer invited to the wedding. She told me that since I wasn't going to help with the planning or support her, she didn't want me there. I was heartbroken, but didn't argue. Instead, I told her I respected her decision, but I wouldn't be attending. This led to a massive blow-up in our family. My parents and other relatives took sides, with some saying Emma was justified and others agreeing I was right to stand my ground. Emma's side called me dramatic and accused me of ruining the wedding mood. Since then, Emma hasn't spoken to me much and even blocked me on social media. Meanwhile, the floor damage hasn't been addressed because I refused to pay for repairs caused by someone else. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she excluded me from the planning and demanded I pay for damages caused at my house. Was I wrong to stand my ground, or should I have just let it go to keep peace? Hey friends, if you enjoy this content, don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. We really want to know what you like and what can be improved. What do you think of the video? Are there any topics you'd like to see in future videos? Your feedback really helps us get better. Thanks for being with us. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of the guest list drama that tore our family apart. So this is going to be a bit long because there are a lot of moving pieces here. I, 28F, have a younger sister, Emily, 25F, and a younger brother, Jake, 23M. We've generally been close, but over the past year, things have gotten really tense due to some serious family drama around Emily's wedding. Emily got engaged about a year ago to her fiancé, Matt, 27M. We all like Matt well enough, but honestly, the planning has been a nightmare from the start. Emily has a huge extended family, some of whom have had messy histories with each other, and it seems like she wanted to invite everyone to keep the peace. What happened instead is what you might expect when you invite people who openly despise one another. Early on, Emily sent me and Jake a rough draft of the guest list. Jake's reaction was immediate and negative because a few relatives he absolutely cannot stand were on it, including 2 cousins who have been openly hostile to him for years. Jake told Emily he didn't want to be around them and was considering not coming if they were going to be there. Emily brushed it off, saying she couldn't exclude people just because Jake had issues with them. She said it was her wedding and she wanted everyone there. I was more neutral at first, hoping Jake would chill and things would smooth out. Fast forward a few months, and Emily's wedding planning group chats are full of passive-aggressive comments and tensions boiling over. Jake decided to talk to Emily again and asked if she could at least seat those relatives far away from him. Emily said no. She wanted a family celebration, and everyone should be able to mingle. Meanwhile, I was dealing with my own issues. I'm married to Rob, 30M, and Rob's family is very small and private. I'm an introvert by nature, and the idea of a giant, drama-filled wedding made me anxious. But I figured I'd try to support Emily anyway. Then the real bombshell came. Emily invited a handful of her friends and family members who had all been involved in a serious feud with Jake for years. Jake told me privately that these people had spread nasty rumors about him and made his life miserable growing up. He said he felt like Emily was prioritizing peace with everyone else over his feelings and well-being. At that point, I started feeling torn. I love my sister, but I also understand Jake's pain. I tried talking to Emily again, asking if she could reconsider the guest list or at least talk to those people to keep things civil. She got really defensive and told me I was taking sides and that I should support her no matter what. Then she told me something that really hurt. She said she thought I was siding with Jake and his paranoia and that maybe I should reconsider whether I wanted to come at all. She also said Matt was uncomfortable with me bringing Rob, since Matt had issues with Rob's family for reasons I honestly don't fully understand. I tried to clarify, but she wouldn't explain more. At this point, I felt like Emily was trying to control the narrative and who was allowed to attend, which felt weird because it was her fiancé's side clashing with my family, and now me caught in the middle. I talked to Jake and Rob about it, and both of them encouraged me not to go if I didn't feel comfortable, but I was worried about how it would look to Emily and other family members. 2 weeks ago, Emily sent a formal invitation with a note that said, "Please RSVP by next week. We need to finalize seating arrangements." When I replied that I needed some time to think about attending due to all the tension, Emily basically told me I was being selfish and immature and that she was hurt by my hesitation. I finally decided not to attend. I sent a message explaining that the drama surrounding the guest list and the exclusion of Rob's family made me uncomfortable and that I didn't want to be part of an event that would strain family ties more. Emily exploded. She accused me of abandoning her on her big day, being disloyal, and choosing sides. She blocked me on social media and told my parents she felt betrayed. Jake sided with me, but our parents are torn and upset that the wedding caused this huge family divide. Since then, I've gotten mixed messages from relatives. Some think I'm justified. Others say I should suck it up for Emily. My friends are mostly on my side, saying weddings can be stressful, but family should come first. But I can't shake the guilt and sadness that my sister and I might never fully repair our relationship. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of the guest list and family drama? Or is Emily being unreasonable expecting me to show up in such a hostile environment? AITA for refusing to give my sister's boyfriend a second chance after he ruined my wedding? So this is going to be a long one, and honestly, I'm still processing everything that happened. I'm the bride in this story, and it all revolves around my sister's boyfriend, who I'll call Jake. My fiancé, now husband, and I had been together for 7 years before we got engaged. We're both in our early 30s. My sister, Emily, is a few years younger than me and has been dating Jake for about 2 years at the time of the wedding. Jake was always a bit of a wild card, charming when he wanted to be, but also unreliable and sometimes a bit reckless. Emily loves him despite all that, so we all tried to be supportive. We planned our wedding for nearly a year. It was a pretty big deal, about 150 guests, a nice venue, and everything. We invited family, friends, coworkers, and of course Emily and Jake. I made it clear that I wanted the day to be as drama-free as possible because, honestly, weddings can be stressful enough without added conflicts. Here's where it starts to get messy. About 2 weeks before the wedding, Emily told me Jake got fired from his job due to some incident involving alcohol. I didn't pry too much because, frankly, it wasn't my business, but I was worried. Emily assured me he was trying to get back on track, so I decided to trust her judgment. Fast forward to the rehearsal dinner, which was the night before the wedding. Jake showed up visibly intoxicated. He slurred his words during introductions and made a few inappropriate jokes, which embarrassed Emily and annoyed a lot of people. I pulled him aside and told him he needed to get it together for the wedding day. He promised he would. Wedding day arrived, and everything was going smoothly until the ceremony. Jake was part of the bridal party, standing next to my sister during the vows. Halfway through, he started whispering loudly to Emily. She was clearly uncomfortable, but she didn't say anything. After the ceremony, during the cocktail hour, Jake disappeared. We didn't think much of it at first because people often step away to take calls or get fresh air. But as time went on, he still wasn't back. About an hour before dinner, Emily approached me looking upset. She told me Jake was outside with a group of people, visibly drunk and making a scene. Apparently, he'd gotten into an argument with some guests over politics and was yelling. I went outside to find him staggering near the parking lot, yelling at some of my husband's family members. When he saw me, he swayed and tried to make a joke, but it was clear he was wasted. I told him he needed to leave immediately. He argued, saying it was our wedding and he could stay if he wanted. I insisted. Eventually, he left, but not before storming off in a huff and threatening not to come back for the reception. This was only the beginning. When dinner started, Emily was a mess. She kept crying, and I could tell she was torn between her loyalty to Jake and wanting to enjoy the day. Jake's absence was noticed by everyone, and it cast a shadow over the event. Later that night, after the reception, Jake sent me a long, angry text accusing me of ruining his chance to be part of my big day and calling me selfish. Emily confronted him and told him to stop harassing me, which led to a massive fight between the two. The next day, Emily reached out to apologize for the whole situation, but also asked me if I could give Jake a second chance. She said he was genuinely sorry and that his behavior was out of character, caused by stress and poor decisions. Here's where I drew the line. I told Emily that Jake's actions had not only embarrassed my family, but had also put a damper on what was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life. I said I didn't want Jake involved in any future family events unless he seriously changed his ways. Emily called me harsh and accused me of being unforgiving. She even said I was prioritizing my wedding over her happiness and that I should have been more understanding. I get that weddings are emotional, and people sometimes slip up, but Jake wasn't just slightly off. He was intoxicated at both the rehearsal and the wedding, caused arguments, insulted guests, and then threatened to ruin the day. I don't think that's something to just brush off. Our relationship has been strained ever since. Emily barely talks to me now, and Jake's no longer welcome at family gatherings. So, AITA for refusing to give my sister's boyfriend a second chance after he ruined my wedding. AITA for refusing to help my sister with her wedding because she disrespected my boundaries and insulted my mental health struggles. This has been a long, complicated mess, and I honestly don't know if I'm the asshole or not. I'm writing this because I need some perspective from strangers since my family is very divided and my friends are mostly biased towards me. A little background. I'm 29F and my sister is 26F. We've always had a complicated relationship, mostly because we're very different people and she tends to be very demanding and entitled. I've struggled with anxiety and depression for years, and I'm in therapy and on medication, but sometimes I have bad episodes where I just need to step back and take care of myself. My sister got engaged about a year ago, and from the beginning, she wanted a big, expensive wedding. She's never really had to worry about money, and my parents are footing most of the bill. I'm happy for her, But I also noticed she was starting to act very entitled and demanding with everyone involved, especially me. She asked me early on to be one of her bridesmaids, and I agreed because I wanted to support her. But she started piling on expectations, like making me go to multiple dress fittings, planning bachelorette parties on weekends I already had plans, and asking me to help with endless DIY wedding projects. At first, I tried to help because I love my sister, but I soon realized she was really inconsiderate of my mental health. If I said I was overwhelmed or needed a break, she would either guilt-trip me or flat out insult me. A few months ago, I told her that I needed to take a step back because I was having a really bad time with my anxiety and depression. I asked her to understand that I might not be able to be involved in everything and that I might have to skip some events or tasks. Instead of being supportive, she started acting like I was lazy and selfish. She even said in front of some family members that I was dramatic and making everything about me. The breaking point came about 2 weeks ago. She had planned a weekend full of wedding stuff, a bridal shower, dress fittings, and a rehearsal dinner. I was honest and told her I couldn't handle all of it and would have to skip the bridal shower and some dress fittings. She lost it. She called me a bad sister, accused me of not caring about her or the wedding, and said I was using my mental health as an excuse. She also said that if I wasn't going to be fully involved, I shouldn't be a bridesmaid at all. That really hurt, but I told her I wasn't going to be part of something that made me feel worse mentally. I asked her to respect my boundaries or I would have to bow out completely. She refused and told me that if I wasn't going to help, I could at least attend the rehearsal dinner and help set up. I agreed to attend the rehearsal dinner, but made it clear that I wasn't going to do anything physically or emotionally draining. When I got there, she had asked me to help with decorations and setting up tables. I tried to help a little, but then I started feeling overwhelmed and anxious, so I said I needed to sit down and take a break. Instead of understanding, she snapped at me in front of everyone, saying, "If you're not going to help, then just sit somewhere else and don't ruin this for everyone else." That was humiliating, and I ended up leaving early. After that night, she sent me a long message telling me I was selfish, that I didn't deserve to be part of her life if I couldn't step up, and that I was ruining her special moments. I responded by telling her I loved her and wanted to support her, but that she had been disrespectful and unkind to me, and that I couldn't be in a role that hurt my mental health. I said if she wanted me in her life, she'd have to respect my limits. She hasn't spoken to me since. My parents are angry with me because they say I'm being selfish and not supporting my sister during the most important time of her life. They think I should suck it up and put family first. Some friends say I'm justified in protecting my mental health, but others think I should make more effort for family. So, AITA for refusing to help my sister with her wedding after she disrespected my boundaries and insulted my mental health struggles? Or should I just push through to keep the peace? I honestly don't know anymore. AITA for refusing to let my sister bring her toddler to my wedding, even though it caused a massive family meltdown. I, 29F, am getting married in about 6 months, and honestly, the planning has been a roller coaster. One of the biggest sticking points has been my sister, Emily, 27F, and her toddler, Noah, 2. I know this will sound harsh to some, but this whole situation has been driving me nuts, and I'm not sure if I'm in the wrong or if my family is just being unreasonable. Here's the background. Emily had Noah about 2 years ago. I love my nephew, but I also know he's a toddler and honestly pretty wild. He's a sweet kid, but very energetic, not exactly the kind of child you can easily keep quiet or calm for long stretches of time. My fiancé and I decided from the start that our wedding would be an adult-only event. We made this decision because we wanted a formal, calm atmosphere where guests could enjoy the ceremony and reception without the unpredictability of small children. When we sent out the invitations, we clearly stated it was an adult-only event. We love kids, but our venue is quite elegant, with a strict no-kids policy, and we didn't want to deal with childcare logistics. I also felt it would be unfair to Emily to expect her to manage Noah throughout the entire day without a break, especially since it's a long day with many social obligations. We even offered to pay for a professional babysitter to watch Noah at home or nearby so she could enjoy the wedding without stress. The problem is Emily refuses to accept this. She says she won't leave Noah with anyone else, and she doesn't want to be the only one missing the wedding. She claims that excluding Noah is basically excluding her and that it's unfair and hurtful. I tried explaining our reasons calmly, but she keeps escalating it, saying I'm prioritizing the wedding vibe over family and calling me selfish. Our parents have gotten involved too, and they think I'm being too rigid, especially since Emily's a young mom who should be allowed to bring her child. The day we had to finalize the RSVP count, Emily said she wouldn't come unless Noah was allowed. I told her we can't accommodate Noah at the venue because of the rules and our wishes, and if she can't accept that, then unfortunately she can't come. She said she would be upset but would respect my decision if I agreed to let Noah come. I stood my ground. The last thing I wanted was a toddler running around the venue, crying or causing disruption. Then things blew up. Our family group chat erupted with everyone taking sides. Emily accused me of being unreasonable and told our parents I was bullying her. Our mom sent me a long message about how I should be more understanding of Emily's situation. Our dad basically told me to grow up and make concessions for family. My fiancé is frustrated but supports my decision because he knows how much I've thought about it. To make matters worse, Emily threatened not to speak to me or come to the wedding if Noah can't come. I don't want to lose my sister or cause a permanent rift, but I also feel that I have the right to set boundaries for my own wedding. This is supposed to be our day, and while I love Emily and Noah, I don't want to compromise the event or my own comfort. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister bring her toddler to my wedding, even if it risks damaging our relationship? Or is my family right that I'm being too inflexible and hurting Emily by excluding her child? Thanks in advance for your thoughts. This whole situation has been heartbreaking, and I'm feeling pretty stuck. AITA for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding because she deserves a lavish event after what I did to her years ago. This has been weighing on me for months now, and I finally feel like I need an outside perspective. So here goes. I, 33M, have one younger sister, Emma, 28F. We've had a complicated relationship for years, but it wasn't always that way. Growing up, we were close, but things took a turn in our late teens after an incident that changed everything between us. When Emma was 17 and I was 22, I made a really stupid decision. We were at a family gathering, and Emma confided in me about a personal secret she had been keeping from our parents. She trusted me to keep it between us. I didn't. In a moment of thoughtless immaturity, I blurted out that secret to some family members and even some friends at the party. It wasn't malicious. I didn't want to hurt her. I just didn't think about the consequences or the betrayal. But it crushed her. She was devastated, and our parents got involved. She was humiliated, and it took a long time for her to recover emotionally from that. For years after, she was cold towards me and distant. Our relationship fractured completely, and we barely spoke. I tried apologizing, explaining I was a dumb kid who didn't think, but she never fully forgave me. I've accepted that, and over time, we have a polite, if somewhat strained, relationship now. Fast forward to today. Emma is getting married next year. She and her fiancé have been saving up and planning, but recently, our parents and extended family started pressuring me to help with the wedding expenses. I have a stable job and a good income, while Emma and her fiancé are just starting out financially. Our parents say I should pay a significant chunk because Emma deserves it after what you did to her, and because it's family. The amount they expect is not trivial. They want me to cover nearly half of the total cost of the wedding, which runs into 5 figures. I was stunned. I told them I wasn't comfortable paying that much for a wedding, especially since Emma and I have barely repaired our relationship, and she hasn't forgiven me. They said I owe it to her and the family. I tried to compromise and offered a smaller contribution, which I thought was generous, but that was shot down. Emma herself hasn't directly asked me for money. I think she's caught in the middle. She wants the wedding she's dreamed of, but knows the family drama this could cause. She said she'd be fine with whatever I'm comfortable with, but also seems resigned to the idea that the family expects me to pay. I am conflicted. On one hand, I feel responsible for the pain I caused her and want to do something meaningful to make it up. On the other hand, this feels like being forced to pay a huge sum as penance, which I'm not sure is fair or healthy. Also, I'm worried it will set a precedent that I am financially responsible for fixing everything through money, when what I really want is to rebuild trust and relationship over time. I want to make this clear. I'm not against helping at all. I offered a smaller amount, and I'm happy to help with some costs if it means a lot to her. But being pressured into paying a massive share makes me feel used. While I brought this up with my parents, it turned into a huge argument. They said if I refuse, I'm selfish and don't care about my sister. Emma hasn't said much, but I can tell she's uncomfortable with the whole situation. So Reddit, AITA for refusing to pay a large portion of my sister's wedding expenses when the family says I owe it to her after what happened between us? Or am I being unreasonable for not wanting to hand over a huge sum of money as reparation, when what she really needs is my time and respect? AITA for refusing to help my sister with her wedding after she excluded me from every decision and then expected me to pay for a big part of it? This is going to be a long one because the whole situation is a mess, and honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything that happened. I'm going to try to keep it clear, but I hope you get the gist. So a little background first. I, 28F, and my sister, 32F, have always had a complicated relationship. We grew up pretty close, but as we got older, especially in the last 5 years or so, things have gotten tense. I live in a different state now, and she has been very involved with a group of friends that I don't really get along with. We don't talk as much, but I've always been supportive when it came to big life events. About 6 months ago, my sister got engaged. I was genuinely happy for her and excited to be part of the wedding planning. I immediately offered to help in any way I could, even suggesting that I could host a bridal shower or help pick out dresses or whatever. She kind of brushed me off with vague "we'll see" responses, but didn't completely shut me down. Then, a couple of months went by with very little communication. When I tried to ask her about the wedding plans, she would say she was too busy or that she'd tell me later. It started to feel like I was being deliberately excluded. Finally, about 2 months ago, I found out through mutual friends that she had picked out her dress, the venue, and even sent out save the dates without telling me anything. What stung the most was that she didn't invite me to the bridal party. When I asked her about it, she said, "I didn't want you to be involved in that. It's nothing personal, just keeping it small and manageable." I was crushed. I mean, my own sister excluded me from the core group of people standing with her on one of the most important days of her life. Around the same time, she told me that she wanted me to contribute financially to the wedding. She said it wasn't a demand, but more of an expectation because I was family, and she wanted me to chip in for the catering and decorations. This felt like a slap in the face after being excluded from everything. I told her I wasn't comfortable paying for a wedding I wasn't a part of, and that if she wanted me to be involved in any meaningful way, I'd be happy to help. Otherwise, I couldn't justify the expense. She responded by saying that I was being selfish and unsupportive. Fast forward to last weekend, she asked me to help set up the venue a day before the wedding. I agreed because I didn't want to cause a scene or make things worse, but I made it clear that I wasn't paying anything. When I got there, I saw the bridal party having a blast, laughing and making jokes. I felt like an outsider. The day of the wedding, she didn't even acknowledge me beyond a quick "thanks for helping." I overheard some of the bridesmaids whispering about how weird it was that I was there at all. Now, my parents and other relatives are caught in the middle. They say I should just let it go and support my sister regardless. But honestly, it feels like I'm being punished for not playing along with something I wasn't included in. AITA for refusing to pay for a wedding where I wasn't part of the planning or bridal party, especially after being excluded. Should I have just gone along with it to keep the peace? Or was I right to stand my ground? I'm really torn because I love my sister, but this whole experience has been painful and confusing. I don't want to burn bridges, but I also don't want to be taken for granted. Thanks for reading. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she cut my fiancé out of the ceremony entirely. 28F. Have always been close with my sister, Emily, 30F. We grew up in a tight-knit family, and while we have our differences, I never thought anything would come between us, especially something as big as a wedding. The problem started about 6 months ago when Emily got engaged to her fiancé, Josh, and invited me to be one of her bridesmaids. I was genuinely excited and felt honored to be so involved. At the time, I was also planning my own wedding with my fiancé, Mark 30M. Mark and I have been together for nearly 5 years, and though we have our ups and downs like any couple, we communicate well and respect each other deeply. Mark is a pretty laid-back guy, but he can get uncomfortable in large social situations sometimes, especially when he doesn't know many people. About 3 months ago, Emily sat me down for a sister talk. She said she needed to discuss something important regarding her wedding plans. I was a bit nervous, but listened carefully. Then she dropped the bomb. She and Josh had decided to limit the wedding ceremony attendees strictly to immediate family and their closest friends. And more importantly, Mark wouldn't be allowed to participate in any part of the ceremony, not even as a guest during the service. Her reasoning was that she felt Mark wasn't fitting in with their close circle, and they wanted the wedding to be intimate and drama-free. She mentioned that Josh's family was particularly traditional and might not appreciate Mark's presence due to some minor disagreements they heard about in the past, none of which involved me or Mark directly. Emily made it clear that this was a firm decision, and if I wanted to be part of her special day, I had to accept it. I was stunned. Mark isn't an outsider to my family. He's been at every holiday, family dinner, and special event for years. He's never caused any trouble and has always been kind to everyone. Emily's decision felt like a slap in the face, not just to Mark, but to me. I tried to reason with her, asking why Mark couldn't at least be in the audience or stand beside me during the ceremony. She reiterated that they wanted to keep the wedding small and exclusive. This conversation spiraled into a full-blown argument. I told her how hurt I was and how I didn't think it was fair to exclude Mark just because he wasn't part of their social circle. Emily accused me of being overly sensitive and selfish, insisting the wedding was about her and Josh, not me or Mark. We didn't speak for a week after that. When Emily invited me to the bridal shower, I declined. I told her that I wasn't comfortable celebrating a day where my fiancé wasn't even allowed to attend the ceremony. She accused me of overreacting and being dramatic. Our parents tried to mediate, but Emily was adamant, and Mark was equally hurt but tried to keep a low profile. As the wedding date drew closer, I was torn. I wanted to support my sister, but I couldn't bring myself to attend knowing Mark wasn't welcome. It felt like a symbolic rejection of our relationship. After a lot of thought, I finally told Emily I wouldn't be attending the wedding unless Mark was allowed to be there. I also stepped down for being a bridesmaid. Emily was furious and cut off communication. She said I was ruining the family's happiness over something so trivial. Our parents are upset, but understand where I'm coming from. Some friends say I should just go and be the bigger person, but it feels like Emily crossed a line by excluding the person I love most. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because she excluded my fiancé from the ceremony entirely? Should I just go for the sake of family peace? Or is my stance justified? AITA for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding after she demanded I cover a big chunk of the costs, even though she's the one who excluded me from the bridal party? So here's the background. I'm 28F, and my sister is 31F. We've had a rocky relationship for years, mostly because she's very controlling and expects me to always put her needs first. Our parents have tried to keep the peace, but honestly, they've been more neutral than anything. When she got engaged last year, I was happy for her, expected to be involved in the wedding planning in some way, even if it was just as a bridesmaid or helping out with smaller tasks. We've been close in the past, so I figured it was a natural assumption. When she announced her bridal party, I was completely left out. Not even a mention or a reason given. When I asked her about it, she said she wanted a small, intimate bridal party with only her closest childhood friends and that I wasn't included because she wanted to keep it simple and meaningful. I was hurt, but didn't make a scene. I figured maybe she wanted to avoid family drama or something, so I didn't push it. Fast forward a few months, and I start hearing bits and pieces about the wedding budget. It turns out she's expecting the family to cover a large part of the cost, especially me. My sister called me out of the blue and said that since I wasn't in the bridal party, the only way I could show support was to help pay for the wedding expenses. Specifically, she wanted me to contribute $5,000 toward the venue and catering because she and her fiancé were paying for the dress and other smaller details themselves. She framed it as a way to make up for me not being involved in the wedding party. I was shocked. I told her I was not financially prepared to pay that much, especially considering I'm still working on paying off student loans and saving for a place of my own. I reminded her that I wasn't included in the bridal party, so I didn't understand why I was responsible for such a large share of the costs. She got upset and said that family members should support each other, especially on something as important as a wedding, and that it was unfair for me not to chip in. I tried to compromise and offered to help out in smaller ways, like helping with decorations or coordinating certain tasks to lessen other expenses. But she rejected those ideas, saying that those contributions weren't what she wanted or needed. She wanted money, and specifically from me. I talked to my parents about it, hoping they'd help mediate, but they told me it's the couple's wedding, so they can ask whoever they want for money. They also said since I wasn't in the bridal party, I wasn't expected to do anything else. They suggested I just pay to keep the peace because family relationships matter more than money. This made me feel even more frustrated because it felt like everyone was pressuring me to just go along with it and ignore the fact that I was excluded from the wedding party but still expected to pay a significant amount. I tried to explain that the exclusion felt like a slap in the face and that I wasn't even sure if I wanted to attend the wedding at this point. My sister got angry when I refused to pay and told me I was being selfish and not supporting her on one of the most important days of her life. She said I was tearing the family apart by causing drama over money and that I was being immature. We haven't spoken much since then. She went ahead with the wedding, and I declined the invitation, citing personal reasons. Our parents say I'm being stubborn, and my friends are split. Some say I should just pay for family harmony, while others think my sister was unreasonable to demand money from someone she excluded from the bridal party. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding after she excluded me from the bridal party, but then demanded I cover a large portion of the costs? Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss new videos also. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Your support and engagement mean a lot to me. See you in the next video.